Hi, and welcome to this new episode of Church Ladies Can't Drive. Let's go ahead and take a look at why I'm in Florida and I'm not working in the shop or the Mustang or the Torino or anything else that's fun. We're working on, don't mind the gloves, we're working on this 2013 CRV that was very unfortunately hit in a church parking lot by a very nice and wonderful young lady, but she was very remorseful and we are now trying to fix it. It was hit in the front while it was parked. So what we're doing is we're going to do the 2015 2016 headlight upgrade. So I'm going to try and document what we're doing first. And first and foremost, we are trying to pull the radiator core support back into place. We're going to put the hood on and we're going to check and see if it closes, we're in the right ballpark. And then we're going to test fit the headlights. And then once the headlights seem to want to go in where they belong, we're then going to move into mock assembly the whole front end, because it appears that most of the damage was relegated to this up here in this headlight area and just this corner. This was a cow, right? Was it a cow? What was his name? Maurice?
No.
He wasn't Maurice. What was his name?
What's
Millie and Mood? No. Okay. All right, we don't know the name of the cow. All right, so this is what we're going to be doing for now. Maybe. So what we're going to do now is just get this going, right?
Yes.
What are we going to do next after that? We're going to straighten it out, right?
Yes.
What after that? We're going to paint it? What color are we going to paint it?
White.
Ah, good idea. That's an excellent idea. We're going to paint it white. It's a tricolor, so I can't wait to do that for the first time in my life. Yay. All right, so I'm going to give you guys an update as we work on this a little bit. It's a little bit tedious, and we might try to get the camera set up somewhere, but if I can't, at the very least, I'll get you brought in for the stages of how as we reassemble. Before I get into the steps I'm going to take to do the headlight swap into the newer ones, because this is a 2013. So hang on with me, and yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, we got this thing all tightened up. One of the things that I'm running into with this swap is the fact that this car was hit. Let me show you what I mean. Come on in here. I said, come on in here. Get in here. There we go. All right, so what I'm doing is this thing's going like that. The headlights are really not finding their home like they should, and if you're doing this and your car hasn't been whacked in the front, then you're probably not going to have the same problems as me, of course. However, there are some issues with, you know, where the hood lines up and stuff just a little bit. So once I get it mocked in, I'll show you what we've had to tweak. But for now, it's a lot of tweaking here, it's a lot of tweaking here, it's a little bit of that, it's a pinch here, it's a pull there. So I'll bring you guys back in as soon as we make a little more progress, but right now it's going really slow and I need something to drink. All right, welcome to day 2 of the CRV repair and headlight upgrade. Let me get you in here and show you what we got done. First and foremost, let me explain how we got the front pulled out using a variety of chains and, you know, sorcery. So let me recap your memory. This was pushed into the battery. This was in probably to about here. This edge was about here. Everything was laid up on top of the engine, but it wasn't broken because the impact was here. Headlight didn't break. The hood went like this. So it crumpled all this. These were all smashed. And I'll show you that in a minute. We'll walk over there. And so what I did was good old-fashioned come along and a porta power. And first we pulled it out, pulled this brace out. It was still bent in the wrong places. And this has a little bit of a curve to it naturally. So what you end up having to do is you take the porta power and you put it here, and I went up against the bucket of the tractor, and that stabilized it. And then I used the come along with a block of wood back here so I didn't damage any of this edge whatsoever, and pulled this like this so that this went in where it needed to be, and then this came out so that these could bolt in here and up there as a plastic clip, which I'm going to replace with a captive nut and a bolt, though, because I think that's stupid that that's plastic for your headlight. Once I had it in place, it was probably an open and close, open and shut affair of adjusting the hood. The hood hinges were they were laid down a little bit in the metal, so I had to shim that one up a little bit. That's in its original location, so I had to pitch the hinges up a little bit because the hood was sitting below the edge of the fender. This side was the same, but this one was a smaller one because the impact was mostly over there. So now that you can see, the new headlights are far more attractive than the old one, even though the old one wasn't bad. Now the next part is going to be fitting the Chinesium grill in here from Pinglao, Xinjiang, China, as well go in here. And that's not an exact fit, so it's going to require some massaging, and these aren't really in here yet. Once the hood's painted and the fender's painted and we get them bolted into place, then we'll do the fine tweaking of this, because the hood has to come off and I have to paint that. So the radiator was damaged, the air conditioning doohickey was damaged, and the horn was pushed in. So all that had to come out to get it back to where I believe is safe. This, ironically enough, was not damaged. So what I'll probably bring you in next for is, so now we got bulbs and plugs and whatnots for things that no longer exist. So there's a process of adapting these to these headlights and then the daytime running lights, which we'll do. And we will we'll continue on. If you're doing this, remember, I'm doing this because of a wreck. You're probably going to do this because your headlights look like that, fogged out, and you just want the cooler front end, I guess, would be the thing. So that's where I am now. I'll bring you guys back in once I make a little more progress. I'm going to do the painting. I'm going to prep this and stuff. I don't know if I can get the camera in there or not. We'll see. So the next steps now is everything's aligned. It's back to the shape of a CRX. I'm sorry, CRV. I have CRX brain. It's back in the shape of a CRV. Now it's time to get the body panels primered. While that dries, well, then we'll come back and we'll work on doing the front end. It's kind of like doing things when that's drying. We'll come back here and try to get this back to you know, the grill fitting and stuff. Okay, all right, well, I'll catch you back here once I make a little bit of progress. All right, I'm going to give you a quick update. Here's the front end, half assembled with the new headlights. This has all been straightened out with the tractor, and it's all new. This wasn't impacted, so we're going to kind of go ahead and believe that that's in the right place. The headlights and the fenders, this was all done with O'Reilly's brand paint, Nason. It came out pretty good. It's a tricolor. It's got pearl in it. I think it matches pretty good without blowing it in and doing any fade work into the fender at all. But if you see anything there, that's because I cleaned the fender to see if it matched. It does come out pretty good. This was the paint booth, and you can see it's not without its challenges, but it did pretty good, all things considered, other than a couple of runs that I put into it because I just couldn't see how thick it was. And that's the nose piece going on. Here's some of the new fog light pieces, and here's a thing that you should know. This is all Chinesium, by the way. It was a kit off of eBay, and I'll put links in the description to what kits that I bought, so that if you want to do this yourself, you could. The grill obviously is going to have the same issues if you've been following anyone else's, that these here need to be heated up a little bit to bend in, so we'll be doing that. But I'm at the point now where the hood is about where I want it to. The headlights are a little bit iffy here and there, but that's just the best I can do with this car. It was being hit the way it was, and you know, just using a tractor and a porta power, it's come along. That's about all I had at my disposal. I think it fits, all things considered. So that's the headlights. I haven't started the wiring yet. I think I'll do the wiring I'll give you sort of as I do it, you can go along with me. Right now there's a lot of just me doing this without, so I can't really hold the camera, or really can't. I only have a few days here in Florida, so I've got to really focus on getting this done and put back together so they can drive it. And right now, as it stands, this is where we are. It looks really good. I can't imagine why Honda didn't start off with this look. I mean, the headlights just look infinitely better than the old round style. So headlights are CAPA certified, hood's CAPA certified, fender's CAPA certified. It's not OE, but it's the best that we could get considering the money. And as it stands right now, if your car comes equipped with fog lights and you have the old style, I want to make you aware that these will plug into the new style if you don't do any bulb upgrades. So keep in mind, you're not cutting any wires really, and I'm using jumper harnesses, and we'll get through that. So for now, that's where I am on the car. I'm test fitting things. Things are tight, but they're not, it's not fully torqued down because I might have to tweak and, you know, do a little shimming and filing, and the hood latch needs to come down a little bit. So there's still more work to do, but it's well on its way. And I'll bring you guys back in on the next update. Okay, I'm going to get in here in the middle just for a second. One of the things that I had picked up on some of the videos were that these Chinesium grills don't fit real well under the headlights, and I have a feeling it's because maybe if you're doing a retrofit to the older style bumper cover underneath, what I'm finding out is you have to heat these up. Let me get these. You have to heat these up, or some guys say you got to warm them up so that they come in and sit flush. You can see that's fairly flush, and I'm going to explain to you why. This side maybe not as much. I think it's just, but it's close. There's screw holes in the back that screw into the bumper cover, and it sucks it in and keeps it pretty level. So if you're getting the Chinesium ones and you're thinking, I'm going to do the whole bumper cover deal, I don't think you got to heat them up. I think they fit depending on which ones. And again, I'll put in the description which kit that I bought, which is just an eBay 11-piece Chinesium McNugget deal, you know, 11 pieces for $1.99. So for now, I'm going to keep going on this because I'm really crunched for time, so I'm not really making a lot of like screw it together content, but it's super intuitive, and there's tons of videos out there. I'm just giving you my deal. This whole front end was upgraded from it because of a collision. And so I haven't even got to the wiring yet, which will be, I'll probably do as much of that on the camera as I can. But you can see, here's the old stuff right here. That's the old bumper cover. That's the hood. The hood has a pretty good kink in it. And there's the old style headlights. And as you can see, there's no provision to screw that trim piece in on that old, on this old bumper cover. And if there is, that could be the screw. It might not line up though, I'd have to look. But it screws in from the back and it draws it in. And I haven't done any heating and it's pretty darn flush. I'm happy with that. That's all that matters, I guess. So for now, I'm gonna set the camera down and keep cranking on it, and I'll bring you back in when I got more to tell. All right, welcome to day 4, I think. Day 4, I think, yeah. We're gonna get into wiring today. We're wiring the headlights to do the high beam, low beam. It's because it's the new headlight system is 2 bulbs as opposed to the 1, so it requires some finagling. And if you want to do the high beams where the low beams stay on, I've got some things to show you, some things I learned from the internet and some things that I had. So let's go right on ahead and get to the wiring that I have laid out, and I'll walk you through it. Okay, first as a reminder, I went ahead and got the 11-piece kit for the fog lights, and this car had fog lights, so it didn't require any additional wiring, and they plugged right in from the 2013, 2014 fog lights into the newer version. The bulb's the same, which was cool. I don't have to change that. One of the things that you're going to notice though is you got 2 headlights as opposed to 1. So when you have that, the car came wired in a different way than you would with 4, and you only have 3 wires. And when you flip on the high beams, obviously the low beam goes off because the bulb is a dual beam bulb. We're going to 2 bulbs, So you have to come over here and do something like this. This is an adapter, and I got all these part numbers from another YouTuber, and I'll go ahead and link to his for all the part numbers. Plus, he used diodes. He used these diodes, which are fine. I went ahead, and because I had bought these diode kits several years ago and I forgot that I had them, I thought I'd give them a try and see how they work. If they're high voltage enough for a trailer or for vehicles being towed by other vehicles, blah blah blah, I felt like they would work. So let me talk you through what you're looking at right now. You're looking at this plug, and you're looking at the the high beam, the low beam, and the ground. This is your white wire, is your normal low beam. The red wire is high beam, and then I split the red wire and soldered everything together, 2 wires here. So one goes to the low beam, the other one goes to the high beam, which is here. So when you flip from low beam to high beam, it energizes both of these, but this doesn't backfeed into, when the low beam is on, it doesn't backfeed into the high beam. That's what the diode does. And I may even come up with a drawing on how this works, but this little block here is what replaces those diodes. And the only reason why I went with this one is because I had it, and I bought the pack, and I will use those, and they're not that expensive, so they're worth it. But I had these laying around, and I wanted to give them a shot, and boy, does it work great. And it seems to be kind of sealed in a way that makes it weather resistant, but we'll tape everything anyway. So what you're doing is you're turning a situation where you flip the high beams on and the low beam goes off. The low beam stays on when the high beam is on in this configuration. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So that's the high beam plug. They both go into the ground. The high beam only gets one wire because it's only going to be on when it's on high beam. When the low beam's on, it won't be, and this will not allow it to backfeed into the high beam bulb. So that's what's going on here. The next step that we'll get into when we get into the wiring is then getting the daytime running lights working, and that should round it all out for this car. This, by the way, another update. I got this from Rockauto, and it's a cheap Chinesium part, and if you're going to do the whole front end conversion like we did, you're going to want to get, if you can find one in a salvage yard, get one from a salvage yard that's on an OEM Honda one, or get a better quality. Rockauto was great though, so I'm not going to knock them at all. I said it didn't fit. It doesn't fit. It pops off on the corners. I can't keep it fastened. So it's going back, and we ordered a factory Honda one. So that's the only downside to going aftermarket. The hood is a Kappa certified aftermarket, and the fender was too, but I thought I would get away with this, and this thing just doesn't fit. It's short. It's either shrunk or it just, I don't know, doesn't fit. So that's the only news I have to report at this point. So right now we're about 80% done. We just have some wiring and then replacing that piece, and then this is ready to go. As you can see, all the hood trim and everything's back in, and it looks all factory minus the stickers. So we're making progress. I'll bring you back in as soon as I got more to tell. Okay, just a quick little update. Here is the turn signal pigtail. What I did was I depinned it, and I removed the plug. The plug looks like that. The new bulb has a different fitting, and you're gonna have to change it. But what I did was, instead of cutting the harness or anything like that, I depinned it, and then I slide the wires down in the connector, and I hit it with a touch of solder, even though it's pretty tight, like it almost fits really good. I haven't soldered that one yet. I do that in the event why anyone would want to go back to the old headlight style in this car. I don't know, but if you did, you just hit that with a soldering iron and a desolder sucker, and you can pull it out and repin it. It just gives you some options. Now, that's a nice solid solder joint, original factory harness. I just had to extend it a little bit, and now we're good to go. I'm just going to slide some heat shrink tubing over that, hit it with the heat shrink gun, and the turn signal light is good to go. So that's this side. Other than the daytime running light LED surrounds, I've still yet to figure that out. There's 3 wires coming out of that, and that's I have to figure that one out. But as far as getting the turn signals and the high beams and low beams done, this side is almost finished. So now we got just to do that side and sweat some more in that. Heat It's super fun. I have a tent over there, and you think I would move it over here, but I'm too lazy to do that. So, all right, I'm going to keep working on this. I just use a cheap Chinesium soldering iron, and I use some flux core solder, and there you go, and that's it. So if you're ever wondering, I do this a lot. I solder lots of my connections. I just figure that if I do it now, then I don't have to worry about it wiggling loose later. Okay, here's day 4. The front end is buttoned up. I'm still missing the bottom. They call it the bottom, lower bumper cover. There's the Chinesium one, just wouldn't fit. This one here just wouldn't wrap around. It's like it was too short here. So we went ahead and ordered an OE one, which was a lot more expensive from a local dealership, and they give you that spiel like, oh, it's cheaper online because of the shipping and all that stuff. And honestly, I've been buying parts from the Honda parts giants online for years, and the shipping never comes close to what they charge you at a local dealership. So, well, they do it in volume, you know, they sell them in volume. Yeah, there's a million people buying bumper covers for CRVs online. So anyway, sour note aside, this is what it looks like. Let me walk you through the wiring. This is something that I decided to go ahead and do another video from a fellow YouTuber who did this, basically gave me the inspiration to do this for my mother-in-law, because it was hitting the front and the headlights were just smoked anyway, and these just look the business, so why not? So all right, we covered the headlights, splitting those out both sides. What I ended up doing for the daytime running lights is it has a 2-stage setup, and in some states, I don't know if there's laws, but just the bright setting with the headlights on seemed like it was going to be a little bit too much. So and there's 3 wires coming out of the DRL LED strip. One is ground, the middle one is the kind of high beam, and the left one is like your running lights. So there's a relay here, and I'm going to put a link to the video where I got this description, because he lays it out with a hand drawing, and I'm not going to recreate that. I'm going to link to his video because it's really good, and that's what I used, so why not just use that. I made a little bracket out of a bent piece of Honda metal. It had some captive nuts, so it's just bolted to the underside of this. There's the relay. It's all taped up. I'm using the power from the old side marker when the lights are on. So to give you an idea what it's like, let's just do this. I turn the key to on. Ta-da! Daytime running lights. Both sides. The minute you turn the key, see if you can see this while I do it. Turn the key, turn the driving lights to on, it dims. And if you heard that click, that's the relay clicking. So this is your first click on the lever, and essentially it dims this enough that it's not blinding people. Now you could just wire it to the first one and just be done with it if you want, but if you listen closely, hear that? That's the relay clicking. Of course, your headlights are on, all off. On headlights. That's the auto, light sensing. When it comes on, it'll flip. So that's how that works. I think it's pretty clever. It's not that hard to do. Just do it. Just do it already. Quit talking about it. All right, so all we got left really is the lower bumper cover and about 46,000 broken plastic clips to try and put back in so this thing doesn't fall off, and one screw right there, that guy. So with that, I'm going to call this puppy done, because it's done. When you shut the hood, it looks really nice. It just has a real good, let's see if I can do this with one hand. And remember, this was all hammered and pushed into the battery. The battery is pushed backwards. I had to bend all that straight. I wanted to make sure that this doesn't even look like I touched it. There's not a mark on it. That's from using blocks of wood. all sorts of stuff. So that's a tri-coat repaint. Came out okay. Got one bug in it. One eyelash of all things. And it's buried in the clear coat, so she gets an eyelash for free. Alright, so that's the end of the CRV project. I'm going to go ahead and say thanks as always for watching. Hope this helped. I'm going to provide links for all the stuff that I used, or at least the video to the links that I used, so you can give credit to the guy who actually did this work, because I don't get credit for it. So let's give somebody else credit. I'm too small a YouTube channel at this point, so we'll pay it forward to the guy I got the inspiration from. So I'll give a link to both his videos. And this is just about ready to go get a tank of gas. We just got to go get that. That should be coming in today. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And if this video helped anybody, do one of those. It'd be really nice. See you on the next one. We had a little bit of clear left over from the job. We decided, what the heck, let's just go ahead and clear the hood. I didn't paint the color, I just painted clear on top of the faded hood. Looks pretty good. So maybe we'll do it again. If you guys would like to see a video on how that works out, to turn in paint from like this and like that into this without putting any color down, let me know in the comments. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.